Wow. It's been a while since I've done one of these. Oh wait, I haven't done one of these because the one I was gonna do I didn't finish and fucking... Okay. I know before we start, I know I'm the only one of the jackasses that hasn't done one of these. But it may have nothing to do with that I drive the farthest to our studio, or that I have a job, or that I work out, or that I have 3-hour-long courses, or that I chose to do a 62-hour-long piece of content, but I'm here to make it up with the ultimate Breaking Bad whatever. Breaking Bad is postponed still, but... Man of Steel. The redheaded stepchild of any cinematic universe, if I ever saw one. The ignored film nowadays in today's culture of hating. Seriously though, no one ever talks about this film anymore. Like, what the hell happened? It's like all the conversation just goes to Batman v Superman is shit, and then DC got on track after Wonder Woman, and Aquaman, and Shazam. It's like the kid that got lost at the theme park and his mother stopped looking for him. I'm sorry. My bad. Anyways, Man of Steel is an underrated gem of the DC cinematic universe. In my opinion, Man of Steel is an absolute masterpiece of superhero storytelling. Obviously, it's not on the level of The Dark Knight or Logan, the two actual best superhero films. It is an underrated superhero film. Better than any of the repetitive schlock coming out of Marvel. I think Man of Steel is a great study into the gray areas of a superhero's life. It takes a more realistic look at how people would view Superman and the type of destruction Superman would cause, and the moral dilemmas that would come with being Superman. We can't speak about this film without speaking about probably one of the biggest travesties of the modern DC, EULFLIPBGKREU, is Henry Cavill, who is fucking phenomenal as Clark Kent and Superman. And sadly, it's very ambiguous as to whether he's going to be continuing the role going forward. But we're talking about this film for now. And he really does give a lot of vulnerability, there you go, to Superman that we haven't seen before. And obviously not a physical vulnerability, because obviously the dude's like a fucking 200-pound heavyweight boxer. I'm talking about an emotional vulnerability, and it's both with the character himself and what he does and how he reacts to things, but it's just elevated by the performance that Henry Cavill gives Superman in Man of Steel. Now, this isn't a perfect film by any means, but I feel like should acknowledge some of the flaws within it, and those two mainly would be the action sequence at the end does get a little long-winded and dragged on for too long. They could have probably cut corners here or there to save time and keep the pace a little better on that. Specifically, I'm thinking of like when Superman is fucking flying all over the Indian Ocean to destroy the other world terraform thingy majig. Like, what the hell is that? The big blue light in the sky that every fucking superhero movie has nowadays. That when he's on the other side of the planet fighting hentai porn. That part could have been trimmed just to both consolidate time and better fix the pacing of the climax of the film. As well as Lois Lane is a little bit of a thin character, know-it-all. Like, there's not really much to her besides the fact that she's a journalist that's fucking Superman. That's basically it. But those are the main two negatives, for me at least. The most important thing in any film, which is the characters and their motivations. Actually very interesting with the perspective they go with the villain in this film, because Michael Shannon as Zod. There are complaints out there about his overacting in specific scenes, but I disagree. The dude literally believes that his planet's dying because of fucking idiots, and obviously he's gonna be enraged when their only chance for survival was fucking shipped off to some random planet in the middle of nowhere with a yellow sun. Regardless, though, they give a depth to him with his motivation, whereas most villains, like fucking stupid Steppenwolf, is just this jackass who wants to turn the Earth into his world for no reason. At least Zod has a reason. Now I'm realizing Man of Steel, they just fucking rewrote Man of Steel for Justice League for the villain. Except the villain is way shittier in Justice League and has no motivation at all other than just he's evil. Whereas Zod believes he's doing it for the greater good to save Krypton and restore his people. But whatever, Justice League is garbage. Just never watch Justice League. And Superman himself, who he doesn't really believe in anything. He's lost. He's a man who doesn't know what type of man he needs to be, because he's been given these two conflicting ideologies from his birth father, Jor-El, and his adoptive father, Jonathan Kent. These two ideas constantly clash within himself, and he ultimately decides to combine the two and make a symbol rather than exposing himself and his family. He becomes Superman in order to find his true identity that his two father figures could never really form for him, or the moral consequence that a real fucking super being would have in our world. And there is a perfect line to show this, of how complicated things would be if your son had these type of abilities and could potentially be in danger, because you just want to protect them. And it's a line that gets a lot of hate, but I think that people just misunderstand it. And it's the famous
You have to keep this side of yourself a secret.
What was I supposed to do? Just let him die?
Maybe.
And it's not about just saying, yes, you should have let him fucking die, you little idiots. You're gonna fucking go to prison. No, it's not about that. It's just about how you don't always have the answers in life. It's never that simple. It's his son. He really cares about him. He doesn't want him to be taken away. On the same note, he doesn't obviously want a bunch of innocent children to die. It's just a matter of life's complicated, dude. Like, shit gets real and you never really do know what the right answer is to give somebody. And that's what I love about this movie so much. Same thing occurs when Superman talks to the priest in the church. And yes, it is goofy a little bit that it's like, oh, Superman, Jesus, shit. But I don't think that was the point of that scene either. Obviously, Zack Snyder's a jackass with that type of stuff, and it was intentional that it's in a church, but it's more so about what is said in that church too, where even Clark Kent is somewhat unwilling to give up the values that Jonathan told him in the event that he doesn't believe humanity deserves it, or humanity can even be trusted given their own violent history. It really is just a wow to me. I don't understand the hate for this film. I really don't. If any film should get hate, it's the one that came after this. Man of Steel really is just an underrated gem of the DC cinematic universe. I'm sorry. In response to my apology, you should subscribe, because we're always making really good content, and we got our 1-year anniversary coming up. Enjoy.
If you enjoy our content, then please consider supporting some film snobs on Patreon. Thank you.